What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Daniel Triple D Dubois, Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Here is the official breakdown, keys of victory, and prediction of these two opponents. First off, before we get into it, you know we have to go to the tail of the tape. Yes, the tail of the tape, we have Jarrell Miller, which is 26 wins compared to the 19 wins from Daniel Dubois. He has no losses still to this day. We have 2 losses from Joe Joyce and Alexander Usyk from Dubois. We have 22 wins by KO from Jarrell Miller. We have 18 big wins by KO. Knockouts from Daniel Dubois. We have 1 draw from Jarrell Miller. I don't know who that's from. 27 total bouts for Jarrell, 21 total bouts for Daniel Dubois. 81% knockout percentage for Jarrell Miller, 86% knockout percentage for Daniel Dubois. 6'4", 6'4" in height, 6'5" for Daniel Dubois. So he has Jarrell Miller by 1 inch. 78 to 78 reach. Identical, okay, both orthodox. One's from Brooklyn, New York, USA, and Daniel Dubois from Greenwich, London, England, United Kingdom, okay. July 15th, 1988 for Jarrell Miller, and September 6th, 1997 for Daniel Dubois, okay. So that's a big number, okay? So we have 88 to 97. Wow. So, and let me counterpunch. Jarrell Miller versus Daniel Dubois is going to probably be, people, the best fight on the whole card. The reason why it's going to be the best fight, because I think Daniel Dubois knows at this point, 3rd time's a charm, okay? He can't afford. Eddie Hearn has alluded to it. Frank Warren has mentioned it ever so slightly, that he can't afford to retreat, surrender, retire in the ring like he's been doing. He can't do that again. And I think he's going to have to fight. And I think if he does have heart, if he does have the fire and desire, he's going to have to show Jarrell Miller who's boss. Because honestly, people, this far, Jarrell Miller has showed him who's boss verbally, mentally. He's taken the whole show. Jarrell Miller is a guy that knows that all he has to do is win and beat Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller was picked by Daniel Dubois, not the other way around. You know, but I think this is a better fight because Jarrell Miller is not a guy to use, no, he's coming right at you. You know what I'm saying? He's coming right at you like a warthog, like a ram, like a charging force. He's coming at you like that. He's not trying to outbox you, and no, he's not trying to do any of that. He's not trying to slip the jab. You know what I mean? No, he's trying to defend himself long enough to get close to you to take your head off. That's what Jarrell Miller's doing. And one thing we have known, or we've noticed about Daniel Dubois, he does not take pressure well. Okay? So here's the equation, okay? And it's simple. Can Jarrell Miller take his punches before Jarrell Miller knocks out Daniel Dubois? Can Daniel Dubois knock him out before getting charged and pressured by Jarrell Miller? Because I'm going to tell you, either one of the two things are going to happen, people. This is simple. Jarrell Miller's going to charge in and going to take some of those shots from Daniel Dubois and can't take them, get buckled, get knocked out. That's the best case scenario for Daniel Dubois. Then he can stay at Queensberry and he can stay where he was simply because he is falling fast. Or Jarrell Miller's going to take those shots, eat them like Big Macs or cheeseburgers, like he likes to say, take him, take his licking, and then he's going to start ticking. That's what's going to happen. And then when he starts landing shots to the body, upstairs, uppercuts, left crosses, right crosses, left hooks, you know what I mean? Uppercuts. When he starts landing these punches like you know Jarrell Miller's going to do, and he can't stop Jarrell Miller's going to run right over him like a steamroller. That's what's going to happen. And I think the force, you're going to have two people trying to push each other back, and that's how it should be. Daniel Dubois will try to be cautious for a while until he finds out, look, I can't do that shit because it's not going to work. I'm not that good of a boxer to keep this guy off of me, and my jab by itself won't keep this guy off of me. I'm going to have to hit him with something hard. I'm going to have to hit him with a right hand and a left hook and an uppercut, and I'm going to have to keep doing that to keep him back, to keep him honest, because if he can't keep him honest, Jarrell Miller's going to steal the show like he already has verbally, because he self-promoted himself damn near back into the major players. Jarrell Miller was there amongst these guys that were, the only difference is damn near all of these guys were former champions. Danny Dubois, WBA, Joseph Parker, WBO, Deontay Wilder, WBC, and Anthony Joshua, former Unified. You know what I mean? So, yeah, these guys are former champions. So these guys are high on the totem pole. And Jarrell Miller's right there. And this is the thing. This fight is going to be fought hard, I think, because Daniel Dubois is going to fight his heart out to show people that he's not a quitter. He's going to fight his heart out to show people that, hey, I ain't no punk. He's going to fight his heart out to show Frank Warren why you shouldn't drop me off the roster and shouldn't drop me from Queensberry Promotions. Because if he can't show that, he's finished. That shit with Alexander Usyk, whatever that blow was, it didn't matter compared to the jab and you fail. Okay, that's sad. That's not cool. You fell from a jab, bro, and you did not get back up. That Kevin Ladena scare, that was the start of that shit. Really, the start was Joe Joyce when he decided to I'm going to take a knee because my eye feels fucked up. Well, and it was a good call, but still, he decided to retreat, retire, squat, quit. He kneeled. He bend the knee.
Again, bend the knee.
We don't need any more bend the knee. And I think he knows that. And if he does bend the knee, he should expect the repercussions. He should expect the consequences for doing so. Because Frank Warren will say, you know what? That's it. I'm done with this dude. I'm not going to sit here and waste any more money on him. I'm going with Jarrell Miller. And again, I have a bomb-ass video for you guys coming tomorrow about Jarrell Miller. And I think Jarrell Miller is secretly trying to team up with Frank Warren. And I think Frank Warren, all he needs to do is show Frank Warren that he can fucking steamroll Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois is standing in his way for the roster, believe you me. Wait when that comes. But those are the keys of victory. Daniel Dubois is going to have to take it to him. He's going to have to fight like no tomorrow. Jarrell Miller, I know exactly what he has to do because he has to do the same thing. A lot of things are at stake for both fighters. Jarrell Miller is just making himself back to the legitimate rankings and the real challenges that makes his mouth water. Okay, the Joshuas, the Wilders, you know what I mean? He's fighting Dubois. Okay? Daniel Dubois has to prove that he's not a pushover. He's not a quitter. So I think both of these guys are going to come in to have something to prove, and we're going to see the best fight that we've seen on the whole card. It might be better than Wilder Parker. It might be better than Wileen Joshua. I think that fight will be the bitch of the bunch. Okay? But this is what I'll say, because I have to make a prediction. I like Daniel Dubois. He's a good old bloke. I just don't see him beating a guy that's expected to take punches from the other opponent. See, one thing we know about Jarrell Miller, we know Jarrell Miller doesn't have the best defense. That's fine. But we do know this guy, he's a massive unit. He's a big boy. And I think one of his advantages, he's able to absorb punches because he's expecting them to come. If you look at that Lucas Brown fight, you're like, well, damn, he took some shots from Lucas Brown, but he took them. He ate them again like cheeseburgers. He ate these shots. And I think he's expected, hey, whatever, like he's saying, whatever Danny Dubois comes at me with, I can take whatever he has. If Jarrell Miller has that type of mindset and he's ready to take these shots, you best believe he's ready to give them too. That's his game plan. He wants you to hit him. Seriously, he's one of those guys, just like one of my favorite martial arts films with Van Damme, Lionheart. He's one of those guys that he wants to wear you down with punches. You punching him because you're thinking, bow, 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 I got him, bow, 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 I got him. You know, boop, boop. Oh, I didn't like that too much. But you know what I mean? I got him. I'm going to get him. I'm hitting him more times than me. And then eventually he wears you down because he comes forward and he does not stop. That's Jarrell Miller. You know, and the thing is, who can hit hard enough to make him honest, to make him respect those shots? I'm interested to see what happens if Danny Dubois does hurt Jarrell Miller. What is Jarrell Miller going to do? Swing and do a Kaunaki, swing until he just gets knocked out because he has no plan B, he has no reserve or adjustment factor in his brain? So we don't know. But the last thing I want to bring to people's attention is where this is going to be, okay? Where this fight is going to take place. It's going to take place in Saudi Arabia, okay? Saudi Arabia, I'm pretty sure they're going to have referees all around the world. I think a very important factor in this fight is the referee. And a lot of people haven't thought of this. And I thought about this early this morning. I'm like, okay, what's going to affect the Jarrell Miller versus Dubois fight the most? The refereeing. See, if it's a British refereeing, and we all know that Jarrell Miller, he expects to get hit, but he expects to hit and fight back. If we got a referee in there that doesn't like to see clean shots landed on a fighter, he could stop the fight prematurely. So I think the referee, they have to have a referee in there that knows Jarrell Miller and Daniel Dubois. Because again, like I tell you about, you know my British peeps, you know I love you guys, but I think a lot of your referees are a bunch of weak, spineless pussies. I don't think they have the stomach to referee real fighting, especially a fighter of the year type of fight, which this may be. Let's say Danny Dubois opens up 6-punch combinations on Jarrell Miller and he takes them. A referee could jump in there, bro. A referee could jump in there and stop the fight, and he didn't even hurt Miller. Miller could have looked at that and laughed, and he's getting ready to throw, and in comes a referee too concerned because he can't take seeing the punishment that he signed up for. That could happen. So we have to take that into account, people, on the refereeing. Again, they have to be someone that knows, okay, Jarrell Miller has a good chin. He has a good chin. So we have to see what he can do, and people don't want to take unnecessary punishment, but, sometimes, and I've seen, if you guys look back and you do your homework on the knockouts that Danny Dubois has had, they have been premature fucking stoppages, and they've all been in the UK. If you don't believe me, just look it up. I'm not making up anything. There's no reason to. And that's why I picked Joe Joyce to beat him when I found out that fight was made. I was like, no, Joe Joyce is going to beat this guy because Joe Joyce has a good beard. And I don't think Danny Dubois has been in a situation where he's been pressured like that. And I was right. So we know Danny Dubois can't take many shots constantly before taking the knee. But who's to say a referee won't misconstrue a rally from Danny Dubois or from Jarrell Miller But I'm thinking especially Jarrell Miller, because I think Jarrell Miller, his whole game plan is to take shots. So we have to take that into account. I know these breakdowns are lengthy, but this is the breakdown you expected to get from Counterpunch Boxing News. Okay? But I do think that if I'm a betting man, Jarrell Miller has a better chance to take the shots of Daniel Dubois versus the shots that Jarrell Miller will land on Daniel Dubois. I don't think Daniel Dubois' punches will hurt that much. And if they do, I will be surprised and grateful and appreciative of Daniel Dubois, because he was able to crack the head of Jarrell Miller, and he will be the first one to do it. And he will be the guy that will be praised of shutting down the loudmouth Brooklynite. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Jarrell Miller versus Daniel Dubois fight prediction, keys of victory, and breakdown. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.